Hi, everyone. We're really excited for your participation in Coffee and Conversations, a professional development event geared towards arts management students at George Mason University on November 19th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at George Mason University's Arlington campus in Founders Hall in the Multipurpose Room 126. So, as you've seen in some of the information I've sent so far, our session goals are to one, create an environment for arts management students to build professional relationships with peers, faculty, alumni, and area professionals. And then two, provide participants with relevant and practical networking and career visioning tools. And what I don't say here, but I think I've mentioned to all of you, is that we're doing this or we'd love to do this in an informal atmosphere. As much as we've planned and we have a panel, really want it to be laid back and just sort of let your hair down, so to speak, get real talk kind of moments. And so that environment, I think, is an informal one where students and everyone else, all the other role players, feel comfortable. Don't feel like you have to have prepared a whole slideshow and this and this and this and, really speaking from your gut. So obviously it is giving some thought to what you're going to speak around. But it is really your lived experience in sharing and being transparent about it. I think that applies to everyone that is involved. We know that we have some really great panelists, and I thank you so much for agreeing to participate. And we have Jim Byers, who's has so many years of experience with Arlington County cultural affairs, who has radio experience, and he's what I would call a culturalist or an arts and culturalist in the greater DC area and really committed. Kairi Kamara, who's also an adjunct at George Mason and been working at Arena Stage and really pioneering, their engagement processes and development. And so then we have Lola Lombard, who I would call an entrepreneur, and she runs Lola's Lab, as an arts educator with other arts educators, really empowering young minds in a fun environment through camps and programming around the relationship between history and the arts. And it's just, I know that my children have been a part of it, and it's fantastic. And then she's been a board member in Arlington County's Arts Board and so on. So just really dynamic group that we have. And the key word here too is out the box. Like when I look at the three of you, you don't have this straight and narrow sort of experience as an arts professional or an arts manager, not textbook. And that's, I think, what we really want to give students an opportunity to see the variety that they can pursue in the arts. And then we have Sarah Cisna Denhart, who's our full-time faculty member for this year, and also wears many, many hats, very involved within the performing arts theater community in the DC area, as an arts consultant, I guess I would say. And these are just my perspectives from looking from afar at each of our panelists and our moderator. And so I think because of her passion for professional development, like she's teaching a course right now in our program on professional development, Sarah is perfectly suited to moderate this panel as well. And so you see the program in the next portion. And this is a draft program, but essentially the idea here is to start off with some light mingling while people grab their coffee and their croissant and just chat a bit. And then we open it up as the Graduate Arts Management Society. We open it up and welcome, have a bit of an icebreaker, have people do elevator pitches. I don't think that really gets old because you never know when you're going to be in that elevator with someone. So practice, practice, practice. And then we'll introduce Sarah and then hand over. And then it will flow from there. We'll go over some questions that we'd love for Sarah to use to guide the panel discussion. And then, or guide the first panel portion. And then we'll switch off and do some table mentoring, just so that there's, some engagement throughout. So, and really an attempt to break down what is presented by the panel. Sometimes people can speak or have a panel for a full 45 minutes, and then people have so many questions and so many things to digest. So in that moment, after about 25 minutes of the panel going over their portions, then the table mentors kick in. And I'm really excited that about 12 mentors that are mostly alumni, as well as George Mason Arts Management faculty, who have agreed and are really excited to be a part of this, to mentor our students. And we'll do that around the table. So that will be an opportunity for people to grab another cup of coffee and then sit and have discussion. And so we'll talk about that in a minute, the focus or the trigger questions for the table mentors. And then after those conversations, then another panel discussion, which is really kind of taking the thoughts that came out in the first panel discussion, the sharing of stories, the table mentoring, and then bringing it all back to do some Q&A from, thoughts that came out of the table mentoring, questions that came from discussion in the panel session, and rounding it out that way. And then we'll do an evaluation. We'll do some announcements. We do have a fundraiser that's a t-shirt fundraiser that we're doing in arts management. We want to let people know about that. We'll do some presentations and we'll wrap up. So it will be fast paced. I think the morning will go quickly. But I believe in leaving people wanting more as opposed to dragging it out. And it is a Saturday, and so we want to respect everybody's time. So we'll really endeavor to stick with the time. And then just backpedaling to the panel focus questions. And I want everybody to feel free to add to these or have your own spin on these. They are intentionally open-ended. They're intentionally broad, I should say, so that you can have the liberty to put your own angle on it, Sarah as the moderator or the panelist yourselves. So what is the story of your career in the arts? What do you know now that you wish you knew then? And that then can be whenever is significant for you, that relates to the now, that sort of aha moment that is sort of like the subtext is, or the subtopic is, I wish somebody had told me this. If I could tell somebody this, a young person or an emerging professional starting out, this is what I would say. kind of thing. And the next one is around like, what has been your strategy for building your professional network? And in that one, we're really just looking for just a couple, 1 to 3 practical things that people can do. Even though it's a strategy, but it's literally like, it can be anything that you do practically. Like, okay, you're going to an event. How do you plan for that? If you look at the panel and try to see, okay, these people, this is the person I want to connect with. These are the questions I want to ask them. Or I'm going to an event. I'm going to walk out with X number of email addresses or LinkedIn accounts or phone numbers. And I'm going to follow up by this and this date. Some practical things that people can start to build their network with. And how has being mentored played an important role in your life? I want to just guide people towards the idea of having an arts mentor if they don't already have one, and looking for a mentor and what that might look like. And so the table mentor trigger questions are kind of building on even being more practical. And so those table mentor questions are, how is your career so far different than you expected when you started your career? What should a student do in the next 6 weeks to set career goals? So we're wanting to put a timeline so that people can walk out of the session with a thing to do, what's next. What should a student look for in a professional mentor? So that's building on that mentoring question. And how can a student relate his or her coursework to professional goals? And that's, again, so all these questions are designed to be open and broad. We'll stick in some fun questions. So what we'll have is in the table mentors, we'll have a question jar. And there people can add questions while sessions are going. You can pull from those questions. It shouldn't be static, but it should be sort of be this living jar that people can add to. Even if you don't get to every question, we'll be able to collect those questions and make use of them. So that is what we have for this session, and I want to invite everyone to kind of look over this some more, and feel free to email me. And if you have additional ideas for questions or anything within the framework that's been set, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much again for your commitment. And also, I would just love to ask, especially the alumni, the table mentors, everyone, really, to encourage arts management students to register. We will be opening it up beyond our program, and we don't want our students to lose out. We want to make sure that we have a filled room, but we do want to make sure it's majority our students. So if you know students in our program that have not registered, please encourage them. It's really just $5 just to cover the cost of the food. And it will be great to have everyone there to benefit from what everyone is going to present. So thank you again, and please feel free to reach out.